Everybody's saying that they like my style. Wanna know how I do it? I smile. While you were out there saying hey, hi, hello, I was getting dressed up in shades of yellow.
Hey, and welcome to episode 40 of the Lovely Job podcast. I'm Leah Spicer-Pownall. I'm the marketing manager of Miss Bush, and this is...
I'm Emma Marshall. I am the MD of Miss Bush. 40?
40! Yes.
That's like our Ruby wedding anniversary.
I know. Yeah, that's like proper big numbers.
Big numbers, yeah. I feel like a loyal band of followers, like a small, perfectly curated, a very influential band of followers, if I may say so. It's just good.
Yeah, you did say to me the other day you've been getting some comments from people in the shop that have been listening, and I was like, oh, thank God it's not just our friends.
I still think it's quite useful for us to do it anyway, even if no one was listening. It kind of makes us quite focused, I think. So
Yeah, I think so.
there's still the gratitude and intention setting.
Exactly. Okay, so it was Father's Day yesterday. So I thought that this week we could do a kind of fathers and father figures type episode.
You did. I mean, I'm just like, full disclosure for me here. I find conversations around fathers really difficult. Just generally, it's like, it's not like I didn't have one or I didn't know one. But I look at other people's relationships with their fathers and I think, crikey, what must that feel like to be unconditionally loved by someone?
Yeah, we've said this before, haven't we? That we've not had typical like father-daughter relationships either. So yeah, we do. Especially when I'm vlogging weddings and I see all the like cute dads crying when they see their brides on the wedding morning. I'm like, oh, that looks nice. Yeah,
that's what I am. And you know, even when my like children's father died, and I would witness their grief, and I was present in that. And obviously, I was grieving myself. You know, for even though we were not together when he died, it's still a big deal. But even then, I'm witnessing like a grief that I can't understand for somebody in a life I haven't really had.
Yeah,
I think I've got some excellent stories of like crap father behaviour if we needed to add those into the mix.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, just to say this is like a Father's Day special episode, but it's coming from people that don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I feel like actually, should we maybe get back on to kind of like white bouquets and why they have to be really well thought about? I feel like people will be like a bit miserable. But we have had some questions though, haven't we? And I've got some very nice.
It's practical stuff as well about the dress and things like that. So it's not just like it's not all emotional.
It's not all generational trauma. No, absolutely not. No. But we did a really well. I mean, obviously you've got Felix and Joe there, so you obviously did a Father's Day yesterday.
We did, and obviously I did. Celebrate my dad. He's just not the typical dad. Like he's not something wrong with him. He's a biker. He's a cool dude. Like he's not one of those like mushy dads. He's still got him a card and everything.
Okay, good. That's good. Yeah. What did you and Felix do for Joe?
We watched the Minecraft movie. We've been saving it for Father's Day, which was great. Like, lots of people have complained about that, but I feel like if you like Minecraft, then you will like it. There was lots of like cool Easter eggs in there, and then I cooked him a very, very good steak dinner.
Oh, that's nice.
It was a very nice day.
I think I could have skipped the Minecraft and gone straight to the steak, but yeah, it sounds great. We obviously didn't do anything. The kids have never really treated Marshy as a replacement father figure, if you see what I mean. So there's no cards or anything for him, despite the fact that he is in the middle of stripping out a bedroom for Harvey and things like that. Not bedroom, bathroom and things like that. I
feel like Marshy deserves it. He's great.
I know. I probably should have got him like a Father's Day card from the cats or something really weird like that, but I didn't. So
Joe does get one from the dogs as well.
I can't quite do that. I anthropomorphize my cats enough. Do you know what I mean? Let alone trying to get their hands in ink and trying to get them to pour, sign a.
I always write the dog's card with my left hand. It said "You're the top dog today" on it on the front. But we also have a goldfish, and we've got this joke that the goldfish always writes in the card, and she's very, very posh and very formal. So there's always a little message from the goldfish in the card as well. Yeah, we're stupid in this house.
I think I could feel like the the lack of a father figure. I feel quite strong with us as we're like anthropomorphizing our cats and things and goldfish. Anyway, that's it. We didn't. We just had a very relaxed day. I ended up with house guests this weekend that I wasn't expecting. There was a festival down here called the Golden Touch Festival, which was really good. Loads of indie bands, a lot of Manchester bands. Really good band from Glasgow called Spires. And so, yeah, I ended up going to a festival on Saturday night after work. And then, yeah, one of like Marshy's mates stayed over. So I did the most kind of lazy ass Gen Z thing on Sunday. I actually got delivery to deliver me ingredients to make an English breakfast, full English.
Very nice.
Yeah, I know. I was like, can I be bothered to get up, put on clothes and go and get stuff for breakfast? I wasn't expecting people
But
staying.
you still cooked it.
Yeah.
I would have just had the whole thing delivered, cooked. McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah, and so we're still really trying hard to really tidy up and clean up for obviously the royal visit of Laura and Katie today. So, but still.
Yeah, we were just saying on Friday that you had an empty house weekend, and I was like, enjoy the silence and just relax.
Yeah. And then William came back from lot early because he was so tired, hot, and like stressed. He just wanted to come back and sleep in a proper bed and have a shower. So, like, the idea that Marsha and I were going to have 3 nights under the roof with just us two didn't happen. There was no salt burning around the house here.
Oh God, please no. Put that image into my head.
I know, right? Let that live rent free for a while there in your head. So
okay.
Yeah. So
okay, right. Let's get onto the father stuff. So one of the questions that we had was, my dad is worried about getting me into the car in my wedding dress.
Yeah, well, they should be.
Basically, the last person that you're left with before you leave is your dad, and he's responsible for like shoving you into the car.
I mean, it's like, I suppose that's one of the absolute benefits of, like, you know, getting married in a venue. That mustn't not happen, must it? You know,
don't have to travel there. No.
So you just, and then you always get that kind of first look photograph. I've seen it so many times of like dad and bridesmaids looking at the bride.
Yeah, I love those. Like I said at the beginning, like they're always like an emotional point for me when I'm blogging the weddings. Like when you see the dad turn around and he's all, oh, it's so cute.
Isn't it? I wonder what that's like. Can you imagine? I literally, I feel like I would just say to, like, you know, I'm sure women do know that they're blessed if they have that kind of relationship with their dad. But, you know.
Like daddy's little girl. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was looking up tips for fathers of the bride. The first one is always, make sure you tell her she looks beautiful. I don't think my dad's ever complimented me.
No. Well, obviously, my dad is now dead, but I can't really remember. I think you'd sort of get sometimes a bit of a backhanded compliment if somehow he was basking in the reflected glory of an achievement. My sister, TV producer, won a BAFTA. I can't remember if I've actually even said this on this podcast before. Anyway, she did. She won a BAFTA, and I feel like it was in the early days of camera phones. Anyway, I took photos, and she had a photo with her, with like classic BAFTA photo with the BAFTA face over her face. And I sent it to my dad, and he's like, well, that's no use to me. I can't see her face. So basically what he obviously wanted to do was to go around showing pictures of his daughter with a BAFTA rather than being like, I'm really pleased for you. It was like a sort of, you know, it was...
What's the point of it if I can't use it?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, one of the first tips is tell her she looks beautiful. So we have mentioned before about transport. It's episode 9, and we spoke about what to do if your dad wants to drive you there in his like really inappropriate, impractical car. So we spoke about that before. So let's just assume that you're going in a practical car. So what are your tips for the dad for getting you in?
Well, I mean, I think basically I would probably get the bridesmaids and the mother of the bride in to get you in the car, and then just them go, and you just sit in the car just a little bit longer with your dads. Do you know what I mean? If we're doing that kind of arriving at church or arriving at a venue.
They get you in first and then they leave, and you just, that's
and then,
probably a good idea.
because I actually, when I got married the first time and I was quite young, like 26, my dad actually did get in a car with me and we got driven to church, only about like 5 minutes away, 10 minutes, no, not even 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes away. And you are just left there with this kind of like random moment of complete like, oh, just probably lock the door. What are we going to do with the key? Do you know, there's quite a lot of like weirdness at that point, because all the sort of bustle has just finished and it's just then the two of you, which I guess for some people must be really weird and touching. My dad, when I was getting married the first time, in the car journey on the way there, he offered me the option to back out still.
Oh God.
I'm like, oh, okay. That's great. Thanks for that vote of confidence.
It's funny, actually.
I'm really sure that this is like, I'm the right person to talk about this.
This is just an episode talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just like, it just shows different kind of relationships, doesn't it? But I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was a skit, and it was like, oh, dads, when you ring the house and your mum's not home, and the dad answers the phone, and he's just like, oh, your mum's not here. Your mum's not here. Like, why are you talking to me? Your mum's not here. And I feel like that's what we would be like.
It's so dysfunctional. We're so weirdly dysfunctional, aren't we? I literally am like, no, I don't know. But my, I can't. Let's get back to the question about, I can't. I feel like I'm just, people will be, I feel really sorry for me, or work out that the reason why I'm so like, I don't know, so like me. Let me be really entertaining.
So your tip is, don't let your dad get you into the car.
Unless your dad's gay. If you've got a gay dad, then they might be quite good at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I'd say most straight guys feel really uncomfortable. If I see a straight man come into our chapel and they're there for, a daughter, relative, whatever, they're always hopping up and down on one foot, trying to get out of the place as fast as possible. I just think the overwhelming femaleness of wedding dresses and wedding dress maintenance and anything about it is just too much for them. I feel they have a sort of like psychological discomfort, and I also think they feel a bit like a bull in a china shop. Do you know what I mean? Like, these things are delicate and totemic, and I think they find it then more awkward to be around. But I've also covered this in the bridesmaids episode, isn't it, as well, which is like, if you send your bridesmaids down the aisle first, you're just left with yourself and your father as well to sort out the dress. So I think at all points, people that know some stuff about dresses should be there to get you into a car, get you out of a car, and arrange you before you walk down the aisle, because those are quite iconic moments and usually captured by a photographer or on video. You want someone who feels confident around that. It's like when you hand a baby to someone who doesn't have a baby, and they were like,
yeah.
That is what people look like around wedding dresses that don't feel confident around them. So I would say that you need a really solid, one of the bridesmaids or someone probably that is in charge of getting you in and out of the car without like making your dress turn into a creased up mess, and just basically just get everyone in situ, and then you can make your way without actually having, as I say, because I think you've got to also, I don't know, I think some fathers would be very confident about giving father the bride speeches, but given that this man is likely to be in a kind of somewhat repressed sense of emotional turmoil, like probably not saying it, like not all dads are criers, but they've got to walk their daughter down the aisle, which is a big deal. They've got to see everyone they've ever known and everyone that they're related to. They've got to make a decent impression on the in-laws, and then they've got to give a speech. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's quite an emotionally charged day for a dad. So then putting them in charge of some delicate dress, which they could get wrong, when they're going to probably feel like, fingers and thumbs. I think it's probably, I take that job away from them.
don't give him that job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did we have to talk about? So we had another question.
Okay, so I've got a question from here from someone. What if brides don't have their father able to walk them down the aisle, or they don't want them to walk them down the aisle? This is a question from someone I know who sent this to me directly, and she also says she's got a few friends that feel the same. She's asking who you would advise to replace that role. Would it be another male figure, or could it be a female, a role model, a friend? Have you witnessed weddings like this? So I actually have seen a fair few different options of this, actually. I mean, for many reasons, I've seen people have their mums walk them down the aisle.
Yep.
Sometimes that's because, the dad is passed away, but sometimes it's because their relationship with their mum is better. Their mother has been their mother and father, and I think people just choose their mum to walk them down the aisle at some points. When I got married to Marshy, I got my son, Harvey, to walk me, not exactly down the aisle, like sort of one room to another. And although my dad was alive at that point, I just thought, no, actually, this is now the time for somebody else to do this. It's not a ceremonial handing over in any way. And yeah, so I got my son to do that. But I have also seen, I went to a wedding of some friends of mine, Lynn and Al, and they have complicated relationships with both sets of parents. So they just walked into church together and walked down the aisle together, which I actually think is really nice.
I've seen that as well. Like they're just coming down together. And also I've seen brides come down on their own, which also I think is really nice. It's more like they're not being given away. They're actually just walking towards the groom themselves.
I think that, yeah, I think those rules are, I think the being given away thing, I think is I'm sure if I was a really hardcore feminist, I'd say this is so deeply rooted in, the patriarchy, why we're even doing it. It's all about chattels and possessions and all that sort of stuff. However, you can't examine any of the traditions of weddings too strongly because not a lot of them stand up, I think, into what a contemporary woman would think. And, we've seen many people over many years sort of dismantle and rearrange the kind of rules and regulations of bridal. But, people are traditional. They love the pageantry of it. And so I think if you have got that relationship with your father, I think it is very special. I wish I'd had it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm like, that doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I would love to have had that. It would have been such a lovely thing, I think.
I agree. Like, obviously, Joe and I eloped, and there was relief afterwards from my dad. He was like, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't have to walk you down the aisle and stuff like that, and do a speech and everything." And then I was like, "Oh, it would have been nice."
Right? But I can't even. The speech that my dad even gave was just not even great. So I think it exists on video somewhere. At some point, I might get it out and probably run it past the therapist.
Yeah, the thing is, I know my dad he would have said something really funny if he'd had to do it, because he is funny. It wouldn't have been emotional, it would have been funny. I always remember my granddad, actually, at my auntie's wedding, his was really funny, and he pulled out an entire roll of toilet roll from his pocket, and it was just all written on the toilet paper.
Anyway, yeah, so I think there's lots and lots of different ways that you can reinterpret that role, and I think you choose whoever just you feel the most emotionally connected to. And I think it is, it's also so many people that are divorced parents in the room, and I think again it can be just one of those things. I know some brides have told me that their stepfather is walking them down the aisle because even if their biological father is still alive, they will choose the person who feels most like a parent. It would be really interesting.
I've seen a bride have both. I've seen a bride with a stepfather and her own father walk on either side, which was really sweet.
Yeah, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know, actually. Can you imagine, though, if Georgia gets married, would she ask Marshy to walk her down the aisle? I don't think so. I feel like she probably wouldn't. Maybe she might get one of her brothers to do it, but I think she would also probably come up with her own.
Yeah, I couldn't see Georgia walking down any aisles.
But she
Not
would.
that she wouldn't get married. Like,
She would
it'd be more like
literally going through a chariot, sort of like with
yeah,
flaming kind of wheels or something, like with a bit of like, Ride of the Valkyries playing or something. Yeah, no, absolutely. Maybe she might ask me.
maybe she'd ask you. Yeah, I was just going to
maybe
say
I
that.
could be the daddy. Or I could go like full dragged up as well.
Moira Rose at the end of
My
coat
spirit
hat on.
animal, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Yeah, so but it is really lovely to see those kind of relationships. And we also have some people who know that their dads are very emotional. And sometimes if people know that, they have brought their dad to see them in the dress in the chapel, so that the dad is less in pieces on the wedding day as well. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
And we have also had some people who've lost their mums, whose their dads come to the wedding dress appointments with them, which is also makes you just want to cry. Because you're like, I don't know what that is about. It's like also triggers something. It's a bit like that, like 1980s Athena poster of a hunky man holding a baby. Like something about like men taking on female roles like that just makes you want to go and cook them a nice stew or something, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really bad because that's basically just, again, like sort of like really going into some kind of cultural norms which should not exist anymore. Why shouldn't this father do the same jobs for their kids that a mother would? But nevertheless, you're still a bit like, oh, bless you. You're so lovely.
Can I just say we had that poster on the wall when I was a kid?
Did you?
Yes.
Everyone had that, didn't they? It was either that or that tennis lady like scratching her bare bottom.
Oh, with her bum, yeah. So I'm looking at some more of the tips. So one of them is to enjoy a dance with the bride. So your father-daughter dance.
Surely that is American, right? That's never was a thing before. It's like the mother-son dance. Isn't that just a bit weird? Is that not like a TikTok meme?
I don't know.
I feel like it's just an American import. As far as I can remember.
It's on an English. It's on the Clearwell Castle website.
Did they get ChatGPT to write that?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I just think it's a bit like, in like, let's be like really traditionally British here and imagine that I'm like the most traditional person here. You're not even supposed to be told to kiss the bride. That's like an Americanization of the like wedding process. Bridesmaids going down the aisle first, ditto, Americanization of it. Mother-son dances, father-daughter dances, they're American. Like, in every other wedding I went to until like the internet took over, culture wars, basically people just had a little shuffle doing a bad waltz around like a dance floor for about 30 seconds until realistically the DJ could drop a banger and all your friends could come on and dance. Do you know what I mean? Everything else is like made up over the last 15 years, I think.
Well, you know, something I've not seen for a long time, I was just thinking about my auntie's wedding, is the receiving line. So after, everyone stands in a row and you all just shake hands as you go back in. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Like, people don't do them anymore.
So basically, yeah, that would what would happen after church and as you go into to go and sit down for dinner. The receiving line where you meet both sets of parents.
Both families, and you all just like shake hands as you walk in.
Absolutely. You must be very
proud. Do people still do those?
I don't know. I haven't seen a receiving line for a long time. Mostly what I see now is like people running into marquees waving napkins.
Yeah, the napkins is the big thing. Yeah, you see there's a lot.
I do think it looks somewhat like a political rally. And not a good one either. But I don't think receiving lines were things. Okay, what else does it say? What does ChatGPT say that your dad should do?
Well, what else is there? Make a tear-jerking speech. We've talked on that.
But do you have to make a tear-jerking speech? Do you know what I mean?
Nah, I think a funny one's great.
I mean, I do realise that, like, some people, when we were in my youth and in my 20s and everybody was, like, getting married, there was always, people were running a small book always on the length of the father of the bride's speech, how long it would take. Wow. Some of them went on for so long. Like, however much you love your friends, no one needs to hear, like, a 45-minute presentation on someone.
No.
I think it needs to be...
People that you don't know as well, really.
Yeah. I feel like short pithy, punchy. And if you're not very good at writing or public speaking, get it written for you. Those are my tips on that, because nobody needs to hear a 45-minute speech.
No, although one that I went to last year, the best one did a PowerPoint, and it had like photos and diagrams and stuff. It was quite funny.
Well, I mean, if you are funny, then that's like, that's obviously a huge advantage. But I've seen like my late ex-husband like crash and burn doing a best man speech. It was diabolical, and he didn't write it. And I'm like, you can be funny if you've got a script and you can go off script. You've got something you can come back to. But if
I'm thinking actually, I bet there's going to be so many using ChatGPT and AI to write their speeches now. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, I used ChatGPT to actually answer a complaint the other day. No, I didn't use it. What I did is we were all so staggered by the complaint that we were like it was so mad that we put that kind of ChatGPT answer this. And I looked at it and I was like, I changed every single word, but I was so at a loss of where to start that actually it was quite useful, but there wasn't anything remaining of it. It was so I can't even remember how bad it was, but it was so the words were so overused, that were so wrong, and they were so over the top. I just felt like that would be not something that people would really believe is a genuine human response to anything. So
no, it's bad because I'm starting to see it all over the place that people have used AI to write things, and I can tell. You can just tell because it doesn't sound like a person's written it.
Yeah,
and also apparently there's a way you can tell is if you've used a hyphen but it's like a double really long hyphen, that's usually because it's been written by AI. So if you see those littered throughout the text, that's probably been written by AI.
Well, I'll tell you what people like with us. If ever I've written anything, it's always spelt really badly. I always spell have wrong. I don't know why I can't. I always start as AHVE. So I would say that, and unlike spelling check things don't pick it up, and I don't know what that is all about. So basically I feel like if something's got a couple of typos, that's more genuine. Okay, come on, what other tips have they got for dads?
Okay, be photo ready.
What's that?
Be ready to appear in photographs with your daughter. And again, with the father-daughter first look, be ready for that. This is on brides now. This isn't on the Clearwater Castle anymore. The first thing Dad needs is a cloth handkerchief in his pocket because it looks good in pictures and somebody's going to use it. Have a hanky.
I suppose that people do still carry handkerchiefs around, don't they?
Yeah, I never really liked the idea of blowing my nose on a piece of cloth. It's a bit weird. But yeah, be photo ready. I suppose that a lot of dads probably don't like having their photos taken, and they're going to be photographed a lot.
But I think, again, the skill of the wedding photographers these days, or most of them, we've seen a couple of wrong ones recently, but is so good. I mean, they're looking for that human story and that connection, and they're looking for the emotion. So it's not that, you suddenly need to be
I think be photo ready is a bad piece of advice. I would say don't look at the camera, just pretend it's not there, because otherwise you're going to end up just being aware of it.
Yeah, I also think that it also puts quite a lot of pressure on people if their dads know that that's going to happen, because what if you think, God, what an awful dress? It's very possible, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What bloody hell are you wearing that for? Or I spent how much on that? Maybe that's why they cry. It's like, that.
I bought that. Oh no.
I could get a car for that. Quite a good second-hand runabout for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's maybe perhaps don't tell them that so much. But it is a bit the thing, there is a lot of pressure still, and people discuss it all the time in my shop. Why people's mums don't cry? And it's because it's an absolute load of old bollocks, basically. You don't have to cry. You don't have to. It's not a metric by which to make decisions.
No, that's just something that's come from America and TV programs. Yeah. It's people crying on "Say Yes to the Dress" or whatever it is. Yeah,
it's very weird. Okay, what next? I'm literally
I
like
think
debunking myths now. It's like, no.
okay. Oh, here's a good one. Duties after the wedding. Host a next day gathering. Breakfast can be a big ask. You'll be exhausted. Maybe host a barbecue the next afternoon.
This is Brides magazine, right?
Yeah, this is the American one, I
Okay, so
think.
they're assuming a level of wealth and privilege then for the
Mhm.
couple and the parents. It's like,
Yeah,
no, you've
it's at
just
your house.
forked out one thing. You've got enough space in your house, enough budget left to host a nice do the next day. I have to say though, I literally do find that people, if they're having a marquee put up, will use the marquee the next day for sort of a general
Mm.
brunch kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
nice.
nice. But again, we have a lot of clients that have like, marquee weddings. And I love you all, people, but that does mean you've got a fairly big garden and a fairly decent wedding budget. Do you know what I mean? A marquee does say that. It's not like you're in like a working men's club with some
No.
egg sandwiches.
Yeah, host a barbecue the next day at the Working Men's Club.
Yeah, mine literally would be an absolute riot if we were in the bowls club next to us. That would be you'd
Yeah.
have like some like Elvis impersonator and a big vat of curry. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, or drag queen bingo at the one
Yeah.
near us. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, return any tuxedo rentals or any wedding clothing rentals.
I don't, honestly, I swear to God. Do people still rent suits? Is that
I
still a
don't know.
thing? Hire? I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
think
our
so.
clients, either they have their own morning staff or they just wear suits.
Yeah, it says here that the groomsmen might be too tired or hungover, so offer to take theirs along as a final kind gesture.
No, just no. No, don't do that, dads. I don't think you need to do that. Make those lazy ass people get off their hangovers, get some, like, whatever, Solpadoon down their necks and get their own suits back. I don't think that's a dad job, really. I
No.
think dads. I think dads are like, I found myself the other day like paying for dinner, in a quite a daddy sort of way for the kids
Mm.
and like Matt, George's partner, and and I feel like sometimes when I take on a bit of a daddy role, like doing something like that, like paying for something or doing a bit of a gesture or something for my kids, I quite like that. It's so I guess men quite like it. They must like go, I've worked hard for this and I want to treat my children or my family to something nice. And it gives you a
Mm.
sense of pride. I don't know if pride's a sin, isn't it? But satisfaction, whatever it is. But I'm like, there is a point where you're like, I think I've just, treat everyone to the wedding that you feel comfortable spending. That's what I would do if I was a dad. And like, if you don't feel comfortable, then most of the most of the like couples that I meet are perfectly would be able to pay for this themselves. Do you know what I mean? So I
Mm.
think it's a very modern reinterpretation of this now. But something I wouldn't be doing is giving around after my new son-in-law taking his suit back. Just I'd be like, get off your arse and do it yourself. That's me talking as a female dad here. So
Yes. Okay, I think we've exhausted all of the tips now. I've I've clicked on a few, and they're all just saying the same like stupid crap.
I feel like quite a lot of these things could be if you had like an on the day planner or an event planner, and if you're having a marquee or something like that, you're probably likely to have someone in a planning role somewhere, whether it's from the caterers or whether it's an actual event planner, because someone has to coordinate that kind of stuff. So, because
Yeah.
more likely it would be like for a dad, for example, let's look at the most like traditional kind of like family that we would get mum, dad host something in a marquee at their house. That's what the dad's got to be doing, putting his garden back together. Like
Yeah.
literally making sure there's no collateral damage to the outside of the house, the lawns, the flower beds, picking up bottles out of this, finding cigarette ends, like, or little ends of blunts or something. Do you know what I mean? That's what you're actually going to have to be doing. Get the NOS canisters out of your borders. So dad's actually got quite a lot to do. Like when the marquee goes and the toilets have gone and all that sort of stuff, and wherever the car parking's been, probably going to go and take a couple of bottles of wine to the neighbours because it went on louder and later than it was supposed to. Do you know what I mean? It's like, You're going to be looking suspicious at your next child in line and wondering if you're going to have to go through that whole trauma in the house again. Do you know what I mean? I feel that's what dads really should be doing. I really should have actually got a dad on here to talk about this, shouldn't we? Because I think that they must be doing, they like that whole like Father of the Bride Steve Martin version where he's found like you find him in prison like kind of rambling to whoever listened about how much money he spent. But I would imagine if you've got like a marquee build in your garden, that could be a week to start up with.
Mm-hmm.
You've got everything coming in. Do you know what I mean? This is why you have worked and earned and created an incredible home and space for your family, and you want to host. But for a solid 2 weeks, your life is going to be like thrown out. And also, you're probably not allowed to do any of the things that you like to do because it's the wedding. So I feel like dads should probably be allowed to, after the marquee's gone, like treat themselves to a golf weekend with the boys, just their mates or something. Just be like, yeah, I've done this now. Go me. Yeah. That was a success. So that's what I think. Honestly, that's what I would think. And contemporary fathers, like I would also like if you're a father who is split up from a mother or is married again, it'd be like, go me. This all happened without emotional side dramas. Well done, us. Look how we're parenting a blended family. Haven't we done well? I think there's more things that I would really put in an article like that when I think about it. That I think really must challenge dads as they go through. I just don't get to speak to many of them. I mean, we see them like sometimes come in and like pick up a dress, or sometimes I speak to a dad on the phone and they pay a bill. But I don't really get to get that much involved with them.
No, it's more kind of what the brides are saying to you about their dads rather than directly from the dads.
I mean, we have a lot of comments of like, oh my God, my dad, you can't have a plungy neckline. What would your father say? Do you know what I mean? So, which, that sounds like me. It's like, no, nobody should have that much of a plungy neckline for your wedding anyway. It's just not right. Sometimes there are dads circulating in the village and they don't come and look. They're very much, people want to keep the wedding dress reveal a surprise still. So whether or not the first look photo is an American import, people are still quite want to keep the dress a secret.
Yeah. I think pretty much every wedding that I blog has got a first look from the dad.
Give those people with nice dads.
I know.
It's very heartwarming though, isn't it? I feel like we have a much better and more evolved set of fathers now. I know a lot of my husband's ex-husband's friends are exemplary fathers. I mean, really, the relationships I can spectate on look incredible. Really great friends with their children. Whenever there's a big party, all the kids turn up because they genuinely like their parents and they like spending time with them. Just like,
that's nice.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Just. I think like this is going to be so telling. Anyone that listens to us will be like,
this episode is like,
I don't even know. I'm literally going to have to like look at that with the edit button and then be like, should we just pretend that the equipment didn't work today?
Yeah.
I'm having like lunch later with Katie and Laura, and so Katie, I saw her put something on her Instagram about her dad, and her dad, they've got, I think there's 5 of them in their family. They all have an amazing relationship with their parents. Do you know what I mean? Their parents are very present in their lives, both with childcare and socials and fun. And I've like seen footage of her dad doing Northern Soul dancing, which was beyond cool. So, that I think is like really, really cute. And also like Laura, again, like she works alongside her dad. Her dad is very impressive, was a captain of industry, like somewhat terrifying to me when I had to go and have a meeting with him about like commercial property. I was like, oh. She's like, make sure you've got all your facts. He can't bear it if people are not prepared already. I was like, I literally had like reports of accounts and like all balance sheets, everything ready to talk about.
He's got like that kind of head teacher.
He really has,
energy about him.
Very CEO energy, definitely about him. But an absolute sort of like incredible father, an incredible grandfather. So do you know what I mean? I'm about to go and have lunch with people who could probably have done this podcast.
They could have done this better than us.
Yeah. So have fun creating something out of that. So yeah, I think what we should really like end up with though is like because we've got a content filming day, not this week, but the following week.
Week after.
So we really, really, and I've got the model coming to see us on Thursday, and we should have some new Jesus Perret dresses, should be, fingers crossed, delivered, and also should be able to call in some stuff that we can play with. So people, what we'd really like to know is, apart from like, you can all feel very sorry for us now, but I would also really love to have anything you really want answered, styling questions answered, you know, new season inspo, what are you looking for from next, like, you know, from our next content thing.
Please give us some feedback or something. Like, there's like around 200 of you that listen every single week, so even just if 5 of you messages, that would be great.
Oh, and also another thing, one of the listeners of our podcast, one of our brides to be, was very keen on the school trip to Southsea. So that still might be a thing. I still think that would be a very, like, I'm thinking it would be a very small number of people, like about 10, 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to a couple of the other artisans based in Southsea, and they would be quite happy to host, including a florist and a designer. And, you know, I'm sure I could like rope Freya in. So actually, if that might be a thing, actually, and I'm sure I could do like a wedding wine tasting down at George's as well. So I feel like that might be a nice idea. So content ideas, amazing. People, please, and also like the school trip thing. And I think
put some feelers out. If you would like to come on the school trip, please just let us know, and then we'll plan it.
We will, because also I think the good thing about the school trip is we could have trade, because we have a lot of people in the trade that listen, because there you've got like a two-way kind of question, you know, like a day. It could be a sort of day-long seminar. People would be asking you questions about marketing and us questions about like wedding style and things like that.
Networking.
Yeah, absolutely. They emphatically won't be asking us any questions about fathers. Sending us to therapy.
Sorry, everybody.
I'm sure there's a podcast there once you've got the edit on it.
Anyway, right, have a lovely day today with your impressive friends.
My Type A friends. I have some. Yes. Yeah, my Type A friends are coming for lunch. But I actually will put some stuff on stories today, because in theory it's supposed to be a lovely day.
That would be great.
Yes.
Okay, and I will see you next Monday.
See you next Monday. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You'd like to know, wouldn't you? You'd like to know